everyone, to another episode of Action Talk. I'm your host, Mark Saavedra, and I'm joined by my co-host, Thomas Shafer. And we're going into our Week 2 picks. Where better to start than with two teams that had absolutely heartbreaking losses in Week 1. Thomas, we're going to Dallas for the Falcons and Cowboys. Which way are you leaning in this one?
Both these teams look like the exact same teams they were at the end of last season. Matt Ryan getting no help from the defense, trying to throw his way back into the game. And then the Cowboys racking up a lot of offensive stats, but just not being able to close out and finish games. But if I'm given a pick, I got the Dallas Cowboys at -4. It's up to -4.5. And I'm going to stick with that. I think Ezekiel Elliott looked incredible last week. He had a little bit of a down year last year, in my opinion, and he's starting off hot. And I'm not really sold on the Atlanta Falcons being able to stop these receivers for the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have better weapons than the Seattle Seahawks. Dak Prescott's not Russell Wilson, but I think he's going to be able to get these guys the ball. And this game, they should win by at least a touchdown, I think.
I don't know about all that. I'm definitely taking the over here. I think that's absolutely a lock. I think this is going to be a shootout, just like what we saw last week with the Falcons and Seahawks. But I got to fade you here. I really like the Falcons +4.5. But I'm even sprinkling some money on that +175, man. That is really juicy for a team and a quarterback. Let me not say a team, sorry. An offense and a quarterback who seemed to be in midseason form already. I mean, 3 receivers with 100 yards. I mean, Thomas, that's ridiculous. And if your long shot to an MVP can keep up his level of play, I don't see Dallas stopping them.
I think the level of play that he performed at, throwing for 450 yards, that was in a lot of garbage time, trying to come back, trying to keep this team in the game. And I think if they get into that, they're going to be going against a better running back with Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys will be able to ice this game a lot earlier than the Seattle Seahawks.
I don't know. I don't like what I saw in that Cowboys offense, only putting up 17 against Rams defense. Not saying the Rams have a bad defense by any stretch, but 17 in Week 1 doesn't really impress me. I don't know. What?
I mean, the LA Rams have a way better defense than the Atlanta Falcons with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I mean, those guys are as elite as it comes.
Yeah, and Aaron Donald alone generated 10 quarterback pressures. So to stick with him, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he does this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles' depleted O-line. Thomas, how are you feeling about that one? That's another great 1 o'clock NFC matchup. What are you feeling here?
Both of these teams, I wasn't overly impressed with the Rams win last week. Jared Goff looked like the same. He's not at that level of that he was a couple of years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. He kind of looked like he was coming off of last season, like not overly accurate, throwing into coverage. He threw a pick. It was not very good. He only got Cooper to cup the ball 4 times. He's on my fantasy team, so maybe I'm a little biased at hurting there.
But they just signed the guy too, so you might want to feed him a little bit more. But continue. Sorry.
But I do like the Philadelphia Eagles as the home underdog. I got them at +105, and it looks like this line's been moving down. It's minus money now, so maybe players that haven't been there the last week are coming back. We don't know. If Miles Sanders comes back, if Lane Johnson come back, I think those are going to be huge acquisitions, having them back on the team. And Doug Peterson, I mean, this guy has played with a depleted roster and coached with a depleted roster his entire career with the Eagles, so I'm not worried about that.
Again, I got to fade you here. I mean, like I just said, we saw Aaron Donald get 10 quarterback pressure against the Dallas Cowboys over. I am fearful for Carson Wentz's life on Sunday. I am terrified for this guy's well-being. I got to take the Rams -1 at -105. Yeah, I'm taking that. And I understand the appeal and the allure of taking a home underdog. But I don't know, man. Carson Wentz looked really bad last week.
In the first half, he looked great, though. And then the offensive line let up, and Chase Young, a rookie, the kid right out of Ohio State, was pure dominating. So I don't see that happening twice in 2 weeks. I really hope that Lane Johnson can't come back and shore up that offensive line. And I don't know, man. I think going from the West Coast to the East Coast is huge. And the Eagles are, as underdogs, are really good under Doug Peterson.
I hate you, man. I know I saw everyone wearing the masks and I saw the parade and I know about all the underdog stuff. I get you. I just don't know if that magic is still there. You know, it's like I said, I understand Carson Wentz was under duress. I mean, the entire game was sorry to watch, but or at least mostly in the second half, I should say rather. But like I said, he was still missing receivers. He was skipping balls. He was airmailing some. I don't like what I saw from Carson Wentz, and I used to be really high on him, and I don't know, man. I don't think he's that good anymore. I really don't. I think he might be a little overpaid, a little overhyped.
I also think the Eagles' defense was actually pretty good against oh, I almost said it.
Oh, whoa! Almost had to donate to the jar.
I almost said it. But against the Washington football team, and Haskins did enough, but it was really Carson Wentz's fumbles and erratic play that set that defense up into bad positions.
Another quarterback whose erratic play puts his team in questionable positions is the Houston Texans. Like you said last week, Deshaun Watson was able to get his feet right. He couldn't get him underneath him. He looked really rough against that Chiefs defense. Baltimore's defense is pretty rough too. Baltimore is coming into Houston as 7-point favorites. Thomas, how you feeling about this one?
Man, I'm done with the Houston Texans. I'm never betting on them again. Maybe money line, never against the spread. And this is a 7-point spread, and I'm still going to take it. I don't care. If this was a 10-point spread, I would probably still take it. Lamar Jackson looked mid-season form. He looked better than he was last year throwing the ball, just slicing up the Cleveland Browns defense. And he barely ran the ball and had over 60 yards rushing. So this Houston Texans team that gave up a lot of rush yards last week is in for a hurting if Lamar Jackson is anywhere doing what he did last year with his little spin 360s, taking it to the house.
Yeah, back-to-back 360s at that. But to add to that point, J.J. Watt's already dealing with a hip issue right off week 1. So if you already are having that problem and Whitney Merciless, yeah, he's good, but I think he might be a little past his prime. If you're not able to contain Lamar with your line on the edges, it's going to be very tough to stop that team because like we've spoken about so many times, I mean, where he kills you is with that RPO. And if he's able to just get outside, I mean, man, it's going to be a long day for those Texans. And they got some fresh legs in J.K. Dobbins, so you know what? I'm laying the points. You got to go with the Ravens, man. You can't doubt Lamar. You got to go with Action Jackson. I mean, he's just too fun to watch. Like, and it's just we've seen them blow out teams left and right. So got to go with the 7-point spread. Sorry.
Especially with that defense, like you said earlier, their defense is better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs got after Deshaun Watson, got 4 sacks on him. Probably would have sacked him more if Deshaun Watson wasn't as athletic as he is. So, man, yeah, lay those points and take Lamar Jackson. This team looks great.
All right, we finally agree on something, and I think we're going to agree here. I feel that Cam Newton had a great week 1, and it was great for the NFL to see this. And it's great for the NFL to see the boring coach get paired up with someone so fun, go into Subway commercials and razzle-dazzle, all that stuff, right? It's great. But I think I got to lay the points with Seattle and go with that -4. I don't think he's any match, him and Bill, for this 2020 MVP who's red hot. It's coming out the week 1. I don't know. What do you think, Thomas? I'm slurring my words here, but what are you feeling?
I'm totally agreeing with you here. I'm laying these 4 points, and I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to do exactly what he did last week to the Atlanta Falcons with Gilmore out there and a pretty nice secondary, but man, I think Cam Newton's day was a little overhyped. Didn't threw for under 200 yards. He had 15 rush attempts. This guy is a walking injury bug, you know? Like, if this guy is taking a beating in mid-season, rushing the ball 15 times a game, he's not going to be able to keep that up. He's going to get destroyed, and they're going to be with Jared Stidham.
Yeah, he's definitely going to take some plays out of Action Jackson's book and take care of himself a little bit better because, like you're right. I mean, he just does not like to get down or get out of balance. He embraces the hits and he loves that, and it's what makes him Cam. And like I said, it's great for the NFL. We love him, but it's gonna be dangerous to do this for 17 weeks. You know what I mean? It's gonna be rough, like you said.
I'm worried for him because I don't think Josh McDaniels is going to do him any help. Like a lot of those were designed runs. Those weren't him scrambling around trying to find somebody deep and taking off. Like those are legit plays set up for him to run. So I'm a little worried about him going into Seattle and he could take a little bit of a beating.
Absolutely. And like you said, since they're designed runs, I mean, this is a team that they look at every player that they have as just that, just another player. So if this is going to benefit the team, they don't really, I don't want to speak on behalf of the organization, but it really seems like they don't really care about, the rest of your career, your well-being. They're using you while they got you. They're trying to get you on the low, make you look good, ship you off for some good picks or whatever later on. And then, they always just try to work the system, and I hate it. But obviously, they can't trade away Cam right now. But it's going to be very unfortunate to see. I'm sorry, what were we going to say? It's just unfortunate that he's going to take such a beating.
I was just going to go on and say that this is going to be my best bet of the week. I think this is pretty much a lock at -4. Once again, the Patriots didn't look that great against the Miami Dolphins at home for what was it? I think they ended the season last year with the Dolphins. So that was 2 consecutive games. And I'm just confident that the Seattle Seahawks are going to get their run game going, and that's going to alleviate a lot of getting receivers open against a really good secondary.
True. I get that. I mean, I'm hoping for their case that they stick to the run because, like you said, the coverage is going to be elite. And it is elite. But you gave your best pick. I'm going to give mine. My best pick for this week is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I love them at +130. I mean, I can't see any scenario where the Colts come out with a win here. So I got to take that +130. And my underdog for the week, I like the Giants at +200. I don't think the Bears were that convincing last week. I know the defense is great, but Mitchell Trubisky, I think there's a little bit of a meltdown in the second half of the Lions, so I think he got a little bit lucky. Might be getting a little too much credit right now. Underdog for the week, Giants +200.
I don't know about that, but I like your Viking pick, so that's going to be my underdog of the week. I know it's not as juicy as what you're getting, but +130, I really think this is second tier to my Seattle Seahawks. I put a lot of money on a single bet and some sprinkling a little Dalvin going for 80 yards plus in a win, getting a little extra juice. So I really like the Vikings. I don't think Phillip Rivers is going to be able to do anything against this defense. I mean, the defense looked bad last week, but we obliterated them. We obliterated Phillip Rivers last season when he was with the Chargers and made him look. I think that game that the Vikings did to Phillip Rivers ended his career with the Chargers. They're just like, this guy is a turnover machine. They're never going anywhere with him. Just get rid of him. And I think that's how it's going to be this week. Vikings are going to be pounding Dalvin Cook. So if you're looking for some player props, I think Dalvin Cook would be a good one to take a peek at this week.
Absolutely. And the fact, like we mentioned, the prop bets they got going on now in Bovada, I mean, you got Dalvin Cook to get 15 touches, stuff like that, and you can parlay that stuff. So definitely take a look at that stuff because it is great and really juicy. And I think if I were to give a lock of the week, if I had $100 and I can only bet on one team, money line, got to be the Minnesota Vikings. I just think that's an absolute lock. Like I said, no scenario where I see Phillip Rivers coming out with the win.
And thanks for watching another episode of Action Talk. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Action Talk Bets. And don't forget to like and subscribe below.